Hi, welcome back to CMG-MathSpace. But wait, have you ever wondered why some fractions are called common fractions? Does it mean we have other main types of fractions? Yes, if you have ever thought about this, then your instinct is right. Now, we are dealing with real number system, and we are at the point that we are treating fractions. And this topic will be on common fractions. The other types will be tackled later. Notwithstanding, we have other types like percentage fractions, ratio fractions, and so many more. But in this episode, we are tackling common fractions. Anyway, like we do always, I would like us to read for understanding. Now, the word fraction refers to part of something. If, for example, a quantity is divided into 3 equal parts, then each part is said to be a third of the quantity. Right, I wouldn't like to bore you with much of these reasons because we have already had a glimpse of what fractions are. We said that for a common fraction is a fraction that has a denominator and a denominator with the symbol, the division symbol. Right, the division symbol, something of this sort, or probably this way, commonly written when we are writing, but in digitally it's commonly represented with this sign. Right, so we have for takeaway, we have numerator, denominator, and then the division sign. Now the top number is called the numerator, and then the below, or the number below, is called the denominator. So the numerator or denominator can be bigger, the other one can be smaller, and vice versa. But the name will be dependent on the numerator, what's the value the numerator holds. Right, so let's see what is going to happen here. Now we have many subtypes of common fractions. Right, so let's see what these are. Now look here. First of all, we have proper fractions. And for a proper fraction, it simply means that the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So for example, we have 2 over 3, 4 over 5, 3 over 7, 1 over 3, and then 1 over 2. So we can ascertain that all these things have the numerator less than the denominator. Now let's look at improper fractions. It's just the opposite of the proper fraction. So improper fraction is improper. So it simply means that the denominator is lesser, or better still, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So I can go back to the proper one. The proper one, the numerator is less than the denominator. Now improper, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Let's take it this way. That is it. So for instance, you have 13 over 5, 4 over 3, 5 over 2, and we can see that the numerator is bigger than the denominator. The opposite is true for proper one, where the numerator is lesser than the denominator. Now let's move on to like fractions. So like fractions means for the like fractions, it is said to be so when two or more fractions are said to be like if they have the same denominator. So in this case, if you have the same denominator of different fractions, these two different fractions or three of them are like fractions because the denominator is the same. So if you look here, 2 over 5 and then 3 over 5. So you can see that 5 is here as denominator and 5 is also here as a denominator. Even moving on to the third one, we have 5 also as a denominator. So the focus is on the denominator. If they are the same, then these fractions are like fractions. That is it. Now, let's move on to unlike fractions. So it's like we are dealing with the opposites. If you have one, then the other one will be simple or easy to understand. So unlike fractions. So just capture one and then use the reverse for the other one. That's all. So unlike fractions. Here, unlike fractions have different denominators, right? So it means that the denominators are not the same. The denominators for unlike fractions are not the same. But for like fractions, the denominators are the same. Right. So one can bear with me that for the like fractions, probably we get those fractions from a whole, one particular whole item or a quantity for the like fractions, because the denominator are the same. So they are probably taken from the same whole, and then we are having the different parts of the same whole. But for unlike fractions, the denominators are not the same. So probably we are not getting those parts from a whole, but they are coming from different wholes, whole numbers, different whole quantity or items. So that is what I mean. I'm saying this because we had a glimpse of what's a fraction when we are getting the same thing from a whole an item or from different items. So from deductions, if you really understood what you said the other time, then for like fractions, we are getting it probably from a whole number or whole item. But for unlike fractions, we are getting it from different whole numbers or different items because the denominators are not the same. So with that being said, let's see another subtopic that can be treated under these fractions. So right, we have simplest form or lowest term. So cancelling common fractions is called simplifying a fraction. So normally in exams or a question, you'll be asked to simplify a fraction. What does this mean? Now, the equivalent fraction has smaller numbers in it. Don't worry, I will explain this. Therefore, a fraction is in its lowest form or lowest term if it cannot be reduced in further. A simpler form of any fraction can be found by dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. The number must be a factor of both the numerator and denominator. So, I said in my previous lessons that you have to understand one episode because we are doing this in sequence. If you don't understand a particular episode, don't move on to the next episode. For this reason, we are doing this series, and you can see this on TikTok, we have it on YouTube, and we have this also on Facebook. Very sequential, properly named. So this is what it is. So understand one and then move on, because I can't be going back, because once we have treated it, we are building the blocks. So you have to understand these things. So now the lowest term, we are talking about a factor, right? They must have a factor, the numerator and denominator. In order to reduce them or simplify them, you have to have a common factor. So that's what we're talking about. Now for instance, we have 24 over 36. So we are simplifying, meaning that we are reducing this fraction to the point that we can't reduce it again. So 26 over 36. Now dividing it by a common factor, which they were talking about, is 2. So 2 divided by 24 divided by 2 will be 12. Then the same 2 divided by 36, you get 18. Now this 12 over 18 can further be reduced. We choose another common factor. We have it to be 2 again. 2 going to 12, 6. 2 going to 18, 9. So we can still reduce this. 6 over 3. 6 over 9, we can still reduce it. So a common factor will be 3, going to 6, 2, going to 3, going to 9, 3. Now we have 2 over 3. Now there's no common factor. No number can go into either of these. Hence the final answer. So that's the simplest term, or the lowest term. That is what it means. The same thing is applicable if you have another number to continue. Right. So with the mixed numbers and improper fractions, that one, the same idea, but this time you have a whole number and a fraction attached. You know what these things means, right? We have treated a whole number and a fraction, right, alongside, joined together. So for instance, we have 7 whole number 2 by 3. So that's what you say. 7 multiplied by 3 will be 21. Then 21 plus 2, that will be 23 over 3. So that is the same thing here also. 5 by 6, 30 plus 3, right? So that's what we are doing. We have done the deduction. So 5 by 6 over 5, but we have the 3 here. So 33 over 5. So you see, as simple as it is, easy. So we will see in the next one. Continue liking, sharing, and learn with us. We will see you in the next one. Bye for now.